we come together, compounded of the ancient elements, mud, and the fire within it we call life, vast waters, and something, the intangible substance of hope, out of which the human dream is made. Words of Lauren Isley. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm grateful for your presence here, for those who've joined us in person on what's turning out to be a glorious day, as well as those who might be elsewhere, and I hope the weather is well if you're online for whatever reason that you've tuned in today. And there are many reasons that we might choose to gather. It might be some chance to celebrate and to share in some great joy in our lives, or it might be a chance to find people who are receptive to sorrow and to tragedy that we're experiencing. Maybe we're confused and we have questions and we're searching for wisdom and answers. I hope you might find that amongst the words that we use today. Or perhaps you've just come looking for a connection with one another, or maybe a chance to rest with the divine, howsoever you choose to define that. Whatever it is that's brought you here, I hope you'll find it, and I know that you'll find a warm community. So we lit our chalice with those words of Lauren Isley talking about the intangible substance of hope out of which our dreams are made. And to reaffirm our gathering and that dream, we have as well this call to worship. Give us this space to inquire about the world, to learn how to better serve humankind, to celebrate joyous moments and the victories of life, to mourn the losses that have been so dear to us, to rest in the stillness of your presence, to be guided by your vibrant energy, and to join in sacred community. Amen. Let us sing our first hymn in the Purple Book, number 30, Brian Wren's Each Seeking Faith is Seeking Light, hymn number 30. Thank you. Let us turn to a time of prayer with these words of Anne Hillman, an author and educator. This is followed by our covenant, which is printed in your order of worship and will appear online. But first, these words. We look with uncertainty beyond the old choices for clear-cut answers to a softer, more permeable aliveness, which is every moment at the brink of death. For something new is being born in us, if we but let it. We stand at a new doorway, awaiting that which comes, daring to be human creatures, vulnerable to the beauty of existence, learning to love. Amen. And please read with me our covenant. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renewed the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. The story I've read here before a while ago, and I had heard it ages and ages ago. But the person who read it, sort of read and read, engaged with it, didn't attribute it to anyone. It was just done. Sometimes I know, ministers as prayer, as sort of a prayer will not actually sort of attribute the words. It's something I'm quite keen to sort of try and find the provenance of this material. So when I had, done my research and came across the story, I had found it in a book by M. Scott Peck. It's called, I think, A Different Drum. And when I went to sort of remember and revive the memory of the story for myself today, or not as in like today I was preparing the service today, but as in when I was preparing for today's service, I discovered that I was actually incorrect in that M. Scott Peck himself used the material from Francis Dorff, who is a hermit and belonged to an order. That's why he has a title, O Prem, at the end of his name. He passed away a few years ago, and so this is the rabbi's gift. There was a monastery that had fallen upon hard times. Once a great order, as a result of waves of anti-monastic persecution in the 17th and 18th centuries and the rise of secularism in the 19th, all its branch houses were lost, and it had become decimated to the extent that there were only 5 monks left in the decaying mother house. The abbot and 4 others, all over 70 in age. Clearly was a dying order. In the deep woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut that a rabbi from a nearby town occasionally used for a hermitage. Through their many years of prayer and contemplation, the old monks had become a bit psychic, so they could always sense when the rabbi was in his hermitage. The rabbi is in the woods. The rabbi is in the woods again, they would whisper to each other. As he agonized over the imminent death of his order, it occurred to the abbot at one such time to visit the hermitage and ask the rabbi if by some possible chance he could offer any advice that might save the monastery. Well, the rabbi welcomed the abbot at his hut. But when the abbot explained the purpose of his visit, the abbot could only commiserate with him. "I know how it is," he exclaimed. "The spirit has gone out of the people. It is the same in my town. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." So the old abbot and the old rabbi wept together. Then they read parts of the Torah and quietly spoke of deep things. The time came when the abbot had to leave. They embraced each other. "It has been a wonderful thing that we should meet after all these years," the abbot said. "But I have still failed in my purpose for coming here. Is there nothing you can tell me? No piece of advice that you can give me that would help me save my dying order?" "No, I'm sorry," the rabbi responded. "I have no advice to give. The only thing that I can tell you is that the Messiah is one of you." When the abbot returned to the monastery, his fellow monks gathered around him to say, what did the rabbi say? He couldn't help, the abbot answered. We just wept and read the Torah together. The only thing he did say, just as I was leaving, it was something cryptic, was that the Messiah is one of us. I don't know what he meant. Well, in the days and the weeks and months that followed, the old monks pondered this and wondered whether there was any possible significance to the rabbi's words. The Messiah is one of us? Could he possibly have meant one of us monks here at the monastery? If that's the case, which one? Do you suppose he meant the abbot? Oh yes, if he meant anyone, he probably meant Father Abbot. He's been our leader for more than a generation. On the other hand, he might have meant Brother Thomas. Certainly Brother Thomas is a holy man. Everyone knows that Thomas is a man of light. Certainly he couldn't have meant Brother Elred. Elred gets crotchety at times. But come to think of it, even though he is a thorn in people's sides, when you look back on it, Brother Elred is almost always right. Often very right. Maybe the rabbi did mean Brother Elred. Oh, but surely not Brother Philip. Philip is so passive, a real nobody. But then, almost mysteriously, he has a real gift for somehow being there when you need him. He just magically appears by your side. Maybe Philip is the Messiah. Of course, the rabbi didn't mean me. He couldn't possibly have meant me. I'm just an ordinary person. Yet, supposing he did. Suppose I am the Messiah. Oh God, not me. I couldn't be that much for you, could I? As they contemplated in this manner, the old monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect on the off chance that one among them might in fact be the Messiah. And on the off chance that the monk himself might be the Messiah, they began to treat themselves with extraordinary respect. Because the forest in which it was situated was beautiful, it so happened that people still occasionally came to visit the monastery to picnic on its tiny lawn, to wander along some of its paths, even now and then to go into the old dilapidated church to meditate. As they did so, without even being conscious of it, they sensed this aura of extraordinary respect that now began to surround the 5 old monks and seemed to radiate out from them and permeate the atmosphere of the place. There was something strangely attractive, even compelling about it. Hardly knowing why, they began to come back to the monastery more frequently, to picnic, to play, to pray. They began to bring their friends to show them this special place. And their friends brought their friends. Then it happened that some of the younger men who came to visit the monastery started to talk more and more with the old monks. After a while, one asked if he could join them, and then another, and another. So within a few years, the monastery had once again become a thriving order, and, thanks to the rabbi's gift, a vibrant center of light and spirituality in the realm. The Rabbi's Gift by Francis Dorff. So you now have an opportunity to light a candle of joy or sorrow, trial or triumph. Share with us however your lives are. If you have a few words to say, please come to the microphone so those using the loop system and those who are online will be able to hear you. You can, of course, light a candle in silence if you wish. If you are online, type in the chat box. We will read your message out. And as always, if you wish to remain seated, know that your presence here is enough. I'd like to light 2 candles at the start. One is from Tria, who's asked that we light a candle for a friend of hers, the author Peter Morwood, who died this past week at sort of quite suddenly at the age of 68. So hold his family, including his wife Diane and Tria, in your thoughts and prayers. The second candle as well is because it's Mother's Day in the U.S., so I'd like to light a candle for my mother, for Laura, for Catherine, for all of the great sort of mother figures that I've had in my lives and I've seen sort of guide the people who are sort of really dear to me. And I want to, with that candle, also apologize that I often have to work on Mother's Day and Mothering Sunday. And today I asked Catherine to work as well. So thank you, Catherine. So a candle for Peter Morewood. And a candle for all those mothers and mother figures in our lives.
I light this candle in the hope of peace in the world, that the fragile peace between Pakistan and India may flourish, and that the peace talks concerning Ukraine may possibly, in the face of very difficult odds, that they may succeed too.
It's also Mother's Day in Australia. So that candle is for my daughter-in-law, for being a great mum to the two granddaughters I have over there and sadly rarely see. And I also light another, well, I light the same candle, waste not, want not, for the slightly dysfunctional family from which I come, where some mothers have done their best, but it's not been very good, and there's been some absolutely miserable outcomes as a consequence for some people who are still alive. So that's for all of us who struggle as mums in whatever form.
for all those joys and sorrows here spoken, and those that remain silently in our hearts. Let us sing now our next hymn in the Purple Book, number 204, When I Am Frightened, by Shelley Jackson Denham. Now this does have an introduction as written in the music, but we're just going to have a conventional hymn introduction. Hymn number 204. Thank you. Our reading today is called Promises by Barbara Gibson. I am going to start living like a mystic. So when I look out the window, I will see God in a leaf, pulsing with the rhythm of photosynthesis. And I will catch the message starlight delivers me from the galaxy Andromeda. I will eat my lunchtime sandwich as though it were manna offered straight from the hand of Yahweh. I will kiss my mate as passionately as Jesus, praying with the disciples that night. I am going to start living like a prophet. I will never look away from the least beggar on the grimy street, even if all I give is my eyes. I will stop pressing down my tears. Let them leap from my eyes. Their salt will flavor what I write, what I do. I am going to live what I know. I will shout thank you to the seals and cormorants in the cold bay, and to the crooked maple tree on the road, no matter what anyone says. I will never stop welcoming my fine erotic dreams. I will learn to die, starting now. I will let the evening come. Some promises from Barbara Gibson. Let us turn now to a time of meditation with these words by Russ Harris. He's a doctor, therapist, and the author of The Happiness Trap. It says, tree meditation. Think of a mighty tree, its long roots stretching deep into the ground below, its sturdy trunk rising upward, and its branches stretching into the sky above. Use this image to inspire you as you hear these words. Roots. Whether you are standing or sitting, plant your feet firmly on the ground. Get a sense of the ground beneath you and gently press your feet downward. Notice the pressure of the ground against your soles and the gentle tension in your legs. Straighten your spine and let your shoulders slide down your back. Get a sense of gravity flowing down your spine, into your legs and feet, and into the ground below. It's as if you are taking root in the earth and planting yourself firmly. Trunk. Slowly draw your attention upwards from the roots to the trunk. It's no coincidence that your abdomen and chest are called the trunk of your body. Maintain some awareness of your feet against the floor, but focus mainly on your trunk. Sit up in your chair or stand up straight and notice the change in your posture. Breathe slowly and deeply, and notice the rise and fall of your ribcage. Note the gentle heaving of your shoulders and the rhythm and movement of your abdomen. Empty your lungs completely, then allow them to refill by themselves. Now, expand your awareness. Notice your whole trunk at the same time. Your lungs, your chest, your shoulders, your abdomen. Branches. Just as the branches of a tree reach into the sky, you now reach out into the world around you. Activate all 5 senses and extend them in all directions. Notice with curiosity what you can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. Maintain some awareness of your roots and trunk and the background rhythm of your breathing, but focus your attention mainly on the environment. Get a sense of where you are and what you are doing. Smell and taste the air as you breathe it in. Notice the sensations you feel against your skin, such as the air on your face, the shirt on your back, or the watch on your wrist. Notice these as deeply and intricately as you can, paying attention to the size, the shape, the color, the luminosity and texture. Notice everything that you can hear, the various sounds of nature and civilization. Engage fully in this time of awareness as we enter into a period of silence. Thank you, Catherine. Let us join together in singing our next hymn, number 167, Don Bessig's There Is a Place I Call My Own, hymn number 167. Who chose so many high hymns? A sinkhole appeared on our road earlier this week. Well, it was reported as a sinkhole, but when I checked it out, as I was very excited, weirdly enough to do, I wasn't especially impressed. My home state of Michigan is known for its potholes. There used to be a joke with one of our neighboring states, Ohio, that they were always disrupted with roadworks because they were trying to keep the roads as pristine and beautiful as possible, whereas Michigan was always disrupted with roadworks as we were trying to keep them from just completely falling apart. Just the barest effort had gone when I was growing up. I think they're a little better now, but when I was growing up, the minimum effort had gone. And in fact, there was... I think there was one of the governors had gotten elected on a promise to sort of save the roads, and he promptly sort of cut the budget for it, which led them to such a state of dilapidation it was considered an emergency by the federal government, which then stepped in to fix the issue. Hence American politics. My apologies. In any event, the hole did get a bit bigger, and that they had found that it had been caused by a cracked sewer pipe that had washed away the sand underneath the road. I find that fascinating. As someone remarked, it explained the noxious smell that had permeated the area for a few days. My apologies again. I think many of us had ascribed that quite cynically to our neighbors' evening and weekend revelries. So there had to be repairs. Initially, half the road was closed, and then eventually the whole road. Businesses were up in arms about this. Rumors were swirling around that it would take about 6 weeks. And what restaurant could survive that much disruption? It brought to my mind the work that had been undertaken to install the tram line just outside our door. Sorry again for any sort of trauma that this has brought up for our longer serving members. it was quite disruptive for us and for the neighborhood. The exhumation of our former graveyard, which was just the first step of the process, for those that remember, it took 13 months. It had been projected to only take 3. I can't recall how long the rest of the works took. I think I've blocked it from my memory. Yeah. But I know that it did put a strain on many local establishments. We, weirdly enough, saw an uptick in our membership at that time. Not necessarily because of this, but I do recall there was a long, winding metal fence, and people would start following it until they got to the front of the chapel. And it was very clear that that's not where they wanted to go, and they couldn't actually continue on the footpath, so they had to simply turn around and walk back, trying to make their way through this labyrinth. So the cafes, the bars, and the restaurants, which had seen a noticeable drop in customers when the hole appeared, this is coming back to the present day, had prepared for the worst, the absolute worst. 6 weeks. I don't know how many of them had sort of insurance that might help cover it, but it was even being written about in the paper that this was going to be some great apocalyptic doom. It was closed for 2 days. Managed to repair it very quickly. Catherine, though, remarked that it was a bit of a shame that the road had been repaired so quickly. It's a busy road, and noticing the quietness of it was this sort of lovely shock. Children rode their bikes around, pedestrians felt confident in crossing the street. There was a certain pastoral bliss, and it was a bit melancholic to experience it so briefly. It brought to my mind the words of the American author Kent Nerburn. A rural Canadian once remarked to Nerburn how the noise, how noisy the silence was in his hometown. And this is in, as I said, rural Canada. Nerburn did not understand the comment until he had a chance to visit the area himself. When I traveled to those prairies, I began to understand, for the people in the great prairies, the sound they hear, the music that underlies their whole lives, is the constant and ever-present howl of the wind. To them, it is no sound at all. When it is removed, the silence takes on a different shape, and all are aware of it. All pause to hear. Similarly, many in our neighborhood had grown accustomed to this background noise, to the lorries and the buses, to the idle engines that are caught up in traffic, to young adults that consider themselves race car drivers in league with Lewis Hamilton. It's only in its absence that we truly became aware of it, the silence speaking louder than the sound. Not everyone, of course. I appreciate for some background noise actually can become an ever-present interruption. I've known it myself, and apologies if any of our conversations that you've had with me, if I've seemed sort of distracted, it's because sometimes it's difficult for me to block out that noise in the background. However we are, the clear, calm quiet can bring to us a certain knowledge, both obvious and obscured. We may hear the silence like still waters, whose ripples and waves represent the idle chatter keeping us from seeing the depths of our thoughts. Some may describe this quiet as eerie or as disconcerting, but I hope with time they too may feel a benefit as we are finally afforded a chance to think and to actually hear our own thoughts. So that's the obviousness. But at the same time, I think there's a recognition of the goodness in this silence as something deep within our own psyches, a revelation that we need it. We need this silence and this quiet and meditative space just as much as we need air and food. Just as a tree draws down into the earth to be nourished. More than just our own thoughts, we gradually come to see the world as well, to feel our presence in it, and to become aware of the presence of others. Not just other objects, but otherness as beings. Other thous, as the German theologian Martin Buber would say. Another person with the fullness of their being, the divine character etched in their breast, just as it is in ours. A beauty that draws us into one another. Those promises from Barbara Gibson, I learned about, as I was speaking earlier, about being very keen on the sort of provenance of the material that we read. I am going to start living like a mystic. I was in a group and we read that sort of poem as an exercise, and someone else had written another poem beginning with that same line, I'm going to start living like a mystic. And we were encouraged to reflect on what that line might mean for us. And so there's this beautiful lineage between authors drawing upon the words and the quotations, the things that inspire us, in turn inspire others. Although the cars were running, the trams were not. Despite this, I took Thomas to Heaton Park yesterday. There were so many people out. People running for the cancer research, sun worshippers, ice cream aficionados, dog walkers, childminders. And amidst the rolling hills and the Pennines in the distance, I could experience the fullness of all this humanity, all of this creation. I felt the presence of knowledge that in that moment were all these people, with all their stories, all their hang-ups, all their ideals, and all their gifts. Very often when we think of environmentalism, we think of the care that we have to give to the earth, which is well and true and important and good. We sometimes, I'll put my hands up for this, sometimes forget the humanness of it as well, that we are part of creation and we too have to tend for, provide that extraordinary respect for ourselves and as us as well as all of humanity, and not just the creation ex persona. Father O'Praim's story about the rabbi's gift reminds us that when we treat people with love and compassion and we see their personhood and their character as gifts, as marks of their uniqueness and necessity in this world, then this world will in turn flourish. There's a French proverb, to understand all is to forgive all, which is quoted from Tolstoy to Madame de Staël to Evelyn Waugh. To hear people's stories and lives, to learn and foster empathy can be a difficult challenge. But in those moments of enlightenment, when we do feel connected to the whole world, that line, to understand all is to forgive all. It feels connected to Barbara Gibson's notion that she hears the message of the light from the Andromeda galaxy. All the world comes together. And it all brings to my mind, and after this I will close my words, brings to my mind the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their siblings in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now, I will count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. Amen. Our regular notices, as well as our upcoming events, are on the back of your order of worship. In 2 weeks' time, we have our flower communion, which has a bring and share meal as well. So if you're joining us for that, please do sign up. Please do bring a flower. For those unfamiliar, the flower communion is, for me, a great example of Unitarian beliefs and values at its greatest. We all bring a flower, which can represent, amongst many things, our gifts, our character and uniqueness, our beauty, and together we create a bouquet from that, a bouquet that's even more beautiful, that it's, and that it's all together. And then at the end of the service, we each receive a flower, which represents the gifts that we receive from our communities, which may be different to what it is that we've brought in ourselves. So do remember to bring a flower. If you forget, that's okay. We'll have plenty to hand. And also, if you're able to bring a dish to share afterwards, that would be great. And if you have any dietary requirements, please let us know so we can make sure that we're a welcoming congregation and can support those who want to break bread with us. Unless you can't eat bread, which I understand. It's also marking 10 years of my ministry here, and so we'll have some cakes and other refreshment, I'm sure. So I'm grateful for the chapel for sort of recognizing that. And then the Friday after that is our Friday lunchtime recital, featuring Lewis Kingsley Peart on piano. That's the 1 p.m. It's free to attend, but we are grateful for any contributions, which go to the artists to recognize their time, talent, and energy. And if you've been to any of our recitals, you know the talent that they bring. It's absolutely extraordinary. So please do join us. That's the last Friday of the month at 1 p.m. Are there any announcements or notices from the congregation? So let us then sing our final hymn, number 120 in the Purple Book, "O We Give Thanks." Catherine's going to play through it once. You might notice there's something like 4 different verses. We're just going to sing the first one. It's a hymn that you can sing on different occasions. So Catherine will play through it once, and then I will sing it to you, and then you can sing it to me. And I'll sing that last time as well. So it's just that first verse, "O we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away." Thank you, Catherine, for that fantastic music. Thank you, Joe, for the IT. Thank you, Sonia, for helping to set up and for greeting. Do we have anyone to help with the tea and coffee today? Thank you, Alvin and Anne, for the tea and coffee we're about to enjoy. And thank you to everyone for creating and sharing worship today. And thank you, Sonia, for the flowers as well. We close with these words of bell hooks. Those of us who have already chosen to embrace a love ethic, allow it to govern and inform how we think and act. Know that when we let our light shine, we draw to us and are drawn to other bearers of light. We are not alone. Amen.